And we are back. We are the Torn Quadcast with your hosts, Elliott Serrano and Marc Fishman. Marc doing the hosting duties last week as I was out of commission. Thanks, Marc, for doing that. I had a lot of time listening to you and your guests, the Raging Realtor.
Yes.
That was fun. That was fun.
It was fun. And I will say, for being brutally attacked backstage, you look great.
Okay, so since you're going to talk about it, I do have litigation upcoming, and although I have been threatened with an NDA if I want to settle, but no one's put any pen to paper on me yet, nor have I been given a number. So I will just say that even though that person had his security team rough me up pretty good, I had to wear a neck brace for most of the week, and I'm a little stiff right now. I gave him a good black eye, and I think the world saw it. So if you know, hashtag if you know, you know. So we'll see.
Also, hashtag X gon' give it to you.
Gonna give it to you. And I thought this was, I gave it, there was two. I go, this was it. This was Eminem and Dr. Dre right here. You got them both.
Yeah. And I'd say, I mean, for those following in between the lines, again, not going to give away anything, not going to get in the way of your NDA. But if you pay attention to the way some people's opinions have turned on a dime, you could say maybe they're running scared.
Running scared. Let's just say when you get the back of the hand, we're talking. It's like your whole life flashes before your eyes, and you wonder about the decisions that you've made. So yeah,
do it.
So that did do it. So anyway, there'll be more official word later on. But again, if I have to sign that NDA and finally settle and I get the number that I'm asking for, and trust me, it's going to be a number. It's going to be a good number. As the old saying goes, I won't tell you that I got a lot of money, but you'll see it. You'll see it.
Yeah, that Yoda in the back is going to have a big old chain.
Yeah. And that's going to be a real 3PO headband. It's going to be an actual gold-plated 3PO, not gold paint.
That'll do it.
In any event. So it's good to be back. Thank you, everyone who is watching the Torn Quadcast here on the stick. The past few weekends, we've been getting preempted by the White Sox. But you can catch our show regularly here on the WRMN Radio YouTube page, Saturdays at 6, where Marc and I will talk about professional wrestling or sports entertainment, sports and entertainment. Because yes, WRMN Radio is a lot of talk about different topics, and we carry the Chicago White Sox. We have other sports shows. We have On the Rise, Truth About Chicago Sports, as well as Big Top Sports. Takes place Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 on WRMN Radio and on the YouTube page. If this is the first time that you've tuned into this show, you can catch up with earlier shows. Last week, of course, there was pretty AEW focus. Marc and his buddy talked about the goings-on in AEW. The previous week, we talked about AEW and WWE. I think we've gotten past our post-WrestleMania doldrums, and then there was the big AEW pay-per-view Was it Double or Nothing? What was it?
Double or Nothing. Yes, it
Double
is
or Nothing.
passed, and we are on the road to All In.
All In, which is the inaugural big, like it's the WrestleMania of AEW when Cody Rhodes and his cadre put together AEW or put together the concept of AEW. That their big pay per view was called All In, so that's kind of like the founding event for that organization. And yeah, so there's some promise there. A lot of stuff going on with Toni Storm, who I absolutely adore. Finally, seeing her going up against Mercedes Moné. I was watching you guys talk about it last week, and my whole thing though with Mercedes Moné is, can we please give her belts that don't look like they were made by that place that you order them online through?
I mean, they're all from other promotions from Japan and Mexico and such.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting thing, and Jeremy put it really well, and I actually saw the segment after we filmed where she goes on about, like, I've won all these belts, I'm all this, and then Tony just looks her dead in the eye. She goes, all I ever needed is this belt.
The AEW, yes.
And it's just, put her in her place. It was marvelous.
I think even the TBS championship belt for AEW doesn't look like a real belt. Again, it looks like one of those online shop order bits, whereas the AEW belt looks like they went to a jeweler who fabricated it. Like most belts should be. Yeah.
I don't even like the idea of calling a belt by a television station. Like, I don't mind something being called the television title, because that implies it's a title to be exchanged and competed over on television. But to name it after the station you're on, it for some reason it lessens it to me. Like, yeah, I'm the TNT champion. Really, that's great. I'm the FX2 champion. So where do we meet?
I want to be the champion of ESPN 8. El Ocho. The Ocho.
Yeah. I want to be. I'll take the C-SPAN belt.
The C-SPAN? Yeah. Wow. Yes. Well, that one, you get a chance.
It's just a JCPenney. It's just a normal.
I was gonna say, you get to call out Marjorie Taylor Greene, on the house of the floor of the House of Representatives.
Not with those guns.
Not with those guns. In any case,
yes.
Great job last week. This week we're going to focus on, well, let's just face it, it's a case of life imitating art, or art imitating life. With companies around the world downsizing, we've had news of, Paramount downsized. Disney just downsized. There's talk about some of the other megacorps downsizing. Universal Discovery just downsized. The world of wrestling or sports entertainment is not above that. WWE is also letting go, or they're letting some talent go. They're letting the contracts of existing talent expire and move on.
Yeah, that seems to be the way this is going. It's less firing, more non-renewals.
Yes, it's just, again, as Vince McMahon would say, best of luck in your future endeavors.
Yeah, quite a few. And not to bury the lead on this one, the two big names they came out of this, Carlito and R-Truth. Now, the Carlito one, if we're just going to jump right in, because why not? Okay, Carlito was brought in sort of as a heater to the Judgment Day, after that the Judgment Day was already on its slow decline to whatever they are now. Him being added in was fine. He's funny. He's a good hand in the ring when you need him, but clearly his bump card was already filled when he came in, so he didn't do a lot for them in ring. He was just sort of there to add a little bit of fun. Him not being renewed, I don't think anyone was necessarily losing sleep over it. I mean, he'll be missed, but R-Truth was like a punch to the gut that is still reverberating to so many people. First and foremost, like, for those who follow this guy, first introduced as K-Quick as the Road Dogg's tag team partner before the Billy Gunn stuff. And then quickly became R-Truth. He did have a quick stint, if you will, at WWE, fired, went over to TNA, proved that as Ron the Truth Killings, the guy can go, and he's not one note. He definitely knows how to do it in the ring and tell a serious story as well as a funny one. Came back with an interesting twist of the character, very comedy based, not in the ring per se, but his persona, the jokes, just they played up this idea that he was living in his own world and you're all just there for the ride. He started proclaiming John Cena, in spite of him being younger, was his childhood hero. To things like him coming out in the middle of the Royal Rumble, putting up a ladder, climbing up the ladder and reaching for the money in the bank and going, "Where's the briefcase?" before everyone in the ring stops to yell at him, "It's the Royal Rumble." I mean, the brilliance of this guy's comedy. Most recently, by the way, one of the things that made me pop is he had some tag match on Raw, and he was tagging with LA Knight, and they were in New Orleans, so he introduced his tag partner, Louisiana Knight. Just brilliant.
Brilliant. Now I'm going to be that guy. You're not going to like to hear this from me, but I'm going to be like, you know what? R-Truth, he's Virgil 2.0 to me. I mean,
Virgil was never this funny.
Not that funny, but he was like, he was a character. Yes, he was a character. Played good off of someone else, but on his own, not so much.
I mean, like Virgil, not really handed a lot to do in terms of carrying weight. And I said, like, look, I'm a fan of the man because, like, when you can tell a wrestler is making chicken salad out of you know what, you got to appreciate it. Even if, like, I'm not buying any Truth merchandise, I'm not really necessarily caring about any angles he was in. And I will say this much: it came out in a TikTok, and I wish I gave the guy credit for saying it, but such a missed opportunity that the brass, the TKO, whoever signed this "we're not renewing" thing, apparently didn't get back to Triple H in time because Truth and John Cena had a main event match for the belt at Saturday Night Main Event, and they could have sold John Cena's whole thing is "I'm here to ruin wrestling," right? They could have made this a title versus career match. And then to have it actually be his career, it could have put so much more heel heat on John Cena, who, by the way, is still struggling to hold on to the heel characterization. Like, there's nothing but breaks and breaks for that guy. So
I don't see it that way, but at the same time, you know, you could book it one way or the other. You still had R-Truth. Many people looked at as the word was that they knew that was it for R-Truth, so that's why they gave him that match as like his going away. Sure. One last main event, one last big send off before you go. And again, but you said it yourself. Are you buying the R-Truth merchandise?
I'm not, but I'll point out his R-Truth Cena shirt, #1 seller.
Well, because it said Ron Cena. Yeah, of course. But that's, and if I'm John Cena, I'm a little pissed because he's taking my design and he's co-opting it for himself. So,
I don't believe for a minute John Cena cares at all.
I would guess. But I'm just saying, the satire and humor only takes you so far.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, to one bit, it's like there is a nostalgia effect about him. There are people who do feel a sense of they're attached to his character. And yes, definite sympathy. And I followed R-Truth on TikTok. He's on TikTok on the regular, doing his bit. I'm not worried so much about R-Truth for the simple fact that he knows his brand. He can be out there. He'll still, again, he was with WWE for a while. If he was smart, he took that contract money and he put it in a nice investment account. And he's doing the bit where now he's at that age too where, it's time to start dialing down anyway.
Yep.
he could probably, WWE can always bring him back, of course, on a Legends contract. He can go around and do the podcast, the podcast tour, do more media, all that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, and
I'm sure he won't be for want.
no, exactly. And you have a lot of young talent now that you need to make room for as well. So,
yeah, I mean, I'd say I can kind of bash through the rest of the releases. There's a lot of them.
yeah.
But the ones that, this is apparently going in some kind of order. Sarah Logan, Valhalla, whatever you'd like to call her. This is not her first time gone. And I don't think she was too broken up about it.
No, I read her Instagram post about it.
Yeah.
And she did say, she did the whole, I'm kind of like, she seemed like it was a whole, yes, I'm upset with how things went, but the way I'm going to look at it, it's like the whole, look, I never really got a chance, and I've been doing this for so long, but guess what? I'm not going to cry over it. I'm going to go back, and I'm going to go back home, be with my kids, be a mom, do the thing. And again, when you're in sports entertainment, it's like the long careers in wrestling are the exception to the rule. It's more like like the NFL. Tom Brady playing until he's 40. That's not the norm. It's if you're a quarterback in the NFL, you're lucky you get maybe 5, 6 years, 8 years tops.
Yeah.
But in wrestling, it's even less than that because injury, the concussions. Let's just face it, it's a grueling schedule. It's a grueling thing. Takes you away from your family. How many broken families have been made as a result of, that whole industry?
She is lucky, by the way. She's married to Eric of the Viking Raiders or the War Raiders.
Right. So there's money coming in there, and she's decided that she wants to be, she's going to take this time and be at home. Not like, and not like everyone can be like Becky Lynch, who decides to, quote unquote, retire. And how long was she gone? 8 months, something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, like in some of those cases too, she's with Becky. No one expected her not to have a renewal or anything like that. She was healing up and taking her time. So it's, it is what it is. So let's see. Besides them, I'm just quickly going through these lists here. Duke Hudson. Some of these also were people that were chopped at the beginning of May as well. Paul Ellering and the authors of Pain, Cedric Alexander, Sonia Deville, Blair Davenport, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, Isla Dawn, Giovanni Vinci, Electra Lopez, Carmella, Braun Strowman, Shayna Baszler, Dakota Kai, Katana Chance and Caden Carter, Cora Jade, Gigi Dolan, Eddie Thorpe, Gallus, which includes Joe Coffey, Mark Coffey, and Wolfgang, Riley Osborne, Jakara Jackson, Oro Mensa, Javier Bernal, Danny Palmer, and then R-Truth and Carlito and Valhalla. So there's your whole list of everybody from May to the end that's been released. A lot of these names, again, maybe not a big surprise. I don't follow NXT too much, but from what I've read and heard, nothing there that was too daunting and very clear, kind of a next man up. We got to get the next class up and out. The interesting thing, aside from this, it's not only the people released, but the people who are now fearing that their contracts will also not be renewed, because what's coming out from all of the dirt sheets is that TKO is cleaning house.
You and those dirt sheets, I swear.
Hey, I'm here to bring it. It's mostly British guys I watch on YouTube, but effectively they're saying the TKO people are doing what any big business is doing. They're looking at the contracts and saying who is getting paid the most and appearing the least. Like, who am I paying top dollar for? I don't care that they've earned it if they are not presently affecting the product. Braun Strowman, guys like him, the authors of Pain, not that they were making top dollar, but Braun certainly was. And they look at those, R-Truth, Carlito, both on those deals coming in. They're going, hey, man, they're here in sort of this supplemental whatever. Like, I could gain a lot more. I could have like 3 rookies come in for what I'm paying for R-Truth, and one of those rookies could be the next Rock. So that's their thought process. If you follow the Twitterverse and all that stuff, a couple of WWE current stars have mysteriously started to eradicate their previous posts. Chief among them, Gunther, formerly Walter, has reduced his Twitter down to only stuff about his home life. So anything else, and he used to routinely put up his matches and links to his matches and other stuff, all gone. And interestingly enough, on the same level, if not more, for certain fans, I'm looking at you, Elliot, Mike the Miz Mizanin doing the same.
Yeah, I mean, it's, again, that's back to the branding bit. And I would be shocked, I say, if Gunther got released, especially considering his performance, is how he's situated in so many storylines, how much Triple H talks him up, so on. Mike the Miz, on the other hand, wouldn't be so shocked. And while I would, I'd miss him, again, I know he wouldn't be hurting. He'd be,
yeah, that's the kind of thing. To me, like, if the Miz were to be future endeavored, as they say, I don't think, I mean, I know that he would care clearly, but let's just all put the cards on the table. He's earned his Hall of Fame ring whenever they are running low on names.
Yep.
He's not going to AEW or anybody else because he doesn't need it.
Nope.
He's got his hot French wife.
He's got his own brand. He's got his own production company. He can do his own thing. Yeah. I mean, to me, it's always like he does WWE kind of like when you want to, like Kenan Thompson is holding on as a
SNL.
At SNL, just to make sure your name's always out there. Make sure the brand awareness is there. Because yes, I mean, you can't deny that there is an advantage to being with WWE. You have a brand association with it, saying that you are in WWE, even if you're a mid-carder or below. Look at the freaking Alpha Academy, okay? They will make more money and get more prestige being in WWE and doing freaking, grocery store openings than if they decided to go over to AEW or somewhere else. So
it's akin, honestly, to being a third string punter on a Super Bowl team.
Yes.
You are still part of the Super Bowl team. Your name is equated with that level of quality. Whether or not you did anything other than warm the bench, you professionally warmed that bench on the best team. The interesting thing to put here as well, before we have to throw it off to break, is that with some of these comings and goings, there's a whole string that hasn't been announced yet that everyone's kind of eyeing. AJ Styles, Shinsuke Nakamura are two of the heavier names right now, and even Louisiana Knight, because all three of them share being north of 40, highly paid, and maybe on the decline in terms of storyline brevity. And the last name to throw on this pile is Karrion Kross, where everyone believes this is all a work, that he's been pushing his social media and telling it how it is all this time, but is it all for naught? Time will tell.
We'll visit that topic and others when we're back from the break. This is Elliott Serrano and Marc Fishman on the Torn Quadcast on WRMN Radio. And we are back. This is the Torn Quadcast on WRMN 1410 AM. and the WRMN Radio YouTube page. I'm Elliott Serrano. That there is Marc Fishman. This is a show where we talk about sports entertainment, sports, and entertainment. And if you missed the first half hour of the show, we've been talking about the culling of the herd, so to speak, at WWE and NXT. It seems to be the thing that's happening now. These companies that make billions, and I mean billions of dollars, decide to start shaving off salaries to save even more.
Hey, you don't get billions of dollars by paying people.
That's yeah, and mind you, when WWE was first acquired by TKO, that happened too. They made this big celebration about how much did WWE sell for? It was like
$4 billion?
Like 4 billion, something like that. I mean, it was a ridiculous. I mean, first it was the number was in the billions, right?
Yes.
And then they signed the contract with Netflix for like $2.5 billion. It was 500.
It was $9.3 billion.
WWE sold for $9.3 billion, correct? And then the contract with Netflix was for like $2.5 billion. I know it was like $500 million a year for 5 years.
Yeah.
And so then WWE's got all this money, like a huge influx of cash, like so much money that the board was even able to buy out Vince McMahon and give him enough money to just like go away, buy your own island, or as people it's always the rumor, which I doubt is ever going to happen. He like Vince McMahon is going to start up his own, wrestling company.
It's already been squashed this week.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, although apparently he has some other alternative sports brand in mind or something, but
well, I know Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan apparently are going in on a type of like MMA type thing,
Yeah, those two guys go so well together, and I hope and pray that they don't get anything on television ever again.
Oh no, definitely. I never want to see Hulk Hogan again.
I don't want to see either of them, to be honest, but I will say I've been enjoying Wrestling with Regret on YouTube. He had Hulkamania week or something. The YouTube algorithm was like, here, watch it. I sat through him sitting through all 4 seasons of Hulk Hogan's reality show. Hogan Knows Best, which
I remember that, yeah.
Which I did watch back in the day, and man, what a time capsule, but also just a reminder of what great dirtbag human beings they all are.
I thought Brooke Hogan was a lovely person. When I met her, she was incredibly kind and everything.
She seems to be at the one to get out of it. Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah. I met her. I thought she was incredibly kind. At least to me, she was incredibly personable. Me, I'm like nobody. We were at a place. She didn't even have to talk to me. Out of nowhere, she's making conversations with me. So I will always defend Brooke Hogan just for that reason. For that reason,
I can give you that one. But yeah, it's
I don't know about the rest of them. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they don't come. Well, the brother's in prison.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Because just look it up. It's a wonderful family, but I digress. Yeah. But to your point, the WWE via TKO billions upon billions of dollars, yet still need to do this tightening of the belt. Now, let's not be hypocritical. We have talked at length about how deep the roster is, and it's a lot for them to go. So, does it make sense for them to thin the herd? I suppose so. It's just like anything else in wrestling. The cream will rise to the top. Anybody who has been released that has the bug for it knows that there is still great promotions out there. And it's not just AEW, by the way. It's GCW. It's, I believe, Natalia Hart went over to NWA. She's on a whole new stretch. Got a huge, brilliant write-up in the paper about how she's returned to form, like shedding all the crappy gimmicks and just going back to, I am a daughter of the Hart family.
Mm-hmm.
I will stretch you 6 ways from Sunday. You have to respect my authority. So she's got
Yeah,
it back.
yeah,
You look at guys like Matt Cardona, still killing it in every indie fed. Apparently, if you can pay his going rate, he will wrestle for you. He doesn't care.
yeah. And again, if that's back to marketing your brand, I know that was one of the things that the quote unquote shoot interview that Karrion Cross did in reference to Logan
All
Paul.
this, yeah, the
Yes,
YouTube things and stuff that he's,
yeah,
he's firing, off Karrion Cross, and he knows that he's Triple H is a fan of him. But I think some people have pointed out, maybe with some of these firings, that Triple H may be fans of these people, but does not necessarily have the final say if the
yeah.
bigger bosses, put the boot to the throat.
I believe that. I believe that. And I would say I would come up with kind of a parallel. It's not an exact parallel, but you and I think the folks who followed uh, anyone's career in comics, right? Let's say you're a creator, you're like, okay, let's talk about like a Rob Liefeld, a Jim Lee, or any of the names, Grant Morrison, Jason Aaron, Mark Wade. It's like when
Brian
you're
Michael Bendis.
Brian Michael Bendis, when you're a hot name with one of the big creators, Marvel or DC, right?
Shout out Gail Simone.
Gail Simone's another. There's this bit where they say, you know what you need to do? I mean, you take that rep that you develop at the big two and you start moving that into your own creator-owned stuff.
Yeah.
That's how Image Comics got started. Robert Kirkman started his own imprint, Skybound. Said, I was doing all this stuff at Marvel. I want now to make my own books because I'm giving all of my talent and IP to this big company. It's not all coming back to me. So as a creator, there are a lot of comic book creators who want to make a living doing it. But what they're really saying is, I want to work for Marvel. I want to work for DC. I want to work on their books, their titles, and have them pay me so that I can, do whatever. This is the same thing as you're saying with some of these wrestlers now. You can spend all your time, your talent, you're investing your everything that you are into elevating another company, again, WWE, AEW, TNA, whatever. Or again, you can work on your personal brand and make it so, boom, anywhere you go, like that check's going to you. It's going into your investment account. It's going, those T-shirt sales are going to your pocketbook. You're not sharing a portion of the percentage with, the company or such. Now, mind you,
Right.
that's not easy. No, it's not easy. It takes a lot of work. And admittedly, you're not going to have the big marketing machine that is the WWE behind you, but it can be done. As you said, Matt Cardona and others. And yeah, you work on your name, work on your brand. Are you going to make $1 million a year? Probably not. But can you continue to make a living doing the thing that you really want to do? That's also, but that's still
100%.
a possibility. Yeah.
I will say, like, that is a grander point to make, though, and it's not just comics, it's not just wrestling, it's basically any creative endeavor.
Yes.
And I'll tell you, it's one of those things early in my professional career that was so infinitely deflating, because as a kid you don't think about these things. You understand that I go to the movies, I stream my favorite show, I play my favorite video game, but to know that when it comes to creative endeavors, there is no full-time role except for the people with C's in front of their titles, and even those can run out pretty quickly because all fall to the mighty dollar. And when you're hot, you're hot. And if you're not, and you can't maintain or sustain because you haven't built your own brand, or you don't know where to play ball, or you don't know where to move off. This is like if you're a great football player, but you get banged around too often. If you don't see the cards on the wall and you think, I love football, it's all I know. So what am I going to do when the knee goes out and I can't, replace it with rubber? That's when you start thinking about coaching. That's when you think about commentary. That's when you start, where else might my skill set start to float its way in? Prime example, one of my personal favorite wrestlers of all time, Taz. you want to talk about a guy who fights for personal brand? This dude fights people who wear orange. So the guy knows. When he was on his way out, when he realized he took one too many lumps to the noodle, and they were saying, as Stone Cold might say, your neck is a stack of dimes. He went to Vince and company and said, I can't do this anymore. I would like to give my hand to commentary. I think I would have a fresh approach. You don't have anybody who talks like me, like a thick New Yorker. And they put him in there with Michael Cole on SmackDown, and he proved that he is a great color commentator. In fact, one of the best working today, I think. When he talks about the moves, he actually sells the move. He talks about how it works, and he made that transition, but he did it before the writing was on the wall. It depends on some of these guys who just kind of wait to be put out to pasture. Dustin Rhodes, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, we've talked about that. I really feel for Dustin.
And there's so many that are in his boat too, and it's funny because they are being given these second, third, fourth, eighth chances because of all of the competition.
Yeah.
If you're putting butts in seats, it's how you stay in the building.
It's funny, you went down that whole list of the talent that was let go, and I was like, okay, I can tell you right now why most of them were let go. They had very forgettable names. I mean, it's like these days coming up with a good wrestling name is really difficult. It's like coming up with a new band name. All the good band names are taken, and you'll always have that challenge in pro wrestling. I've always said I could put together a contest. I want to do an app where the game is Pro Wrestling Alias or Porn Star.
Right.
They give you the name, and you got to decide: is that a pro wrestler or a porn star? Because there's some where you never know.
No. Elliot, are you telling me that Val Venus is a wrestler? Yeah.
Well, hey, Jake the Snake. I mean, they could be interpreted anyways.
Andre the Giant.
The Giant, yeah.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And, some of that, too, is like you got to make the name work for you. And you look at, I think the one thing that works for WWE is they give you a whole name. And then if you're smart, you work it until you get reduced down to something else. Big E. Do you remember what his whole wrestling name is?
Yeah, I remember his old wrestling persona back then.
Yeah. Big E Langston got shortened down. And they've all kind of done it a little bit here and there. And what's funny too is some people who like Xavier Woods, still known as Austin Creed.
Consequences Creed.
Yes.
Yeah.
But Austin is real name or whatever.
Right.
They've all kind of done it. It's funny too. Like, John Cena used to be the prototype until they're like, yeah, just call yourself you. Back in the Ruthless Aggression day when you could just have your name. And if you made it work for you, fantastic. Your Kurt Angles and those, that didn't have to have it. But yeah, you're right. And especially too, like with the amount of stars they get, spin the wheel, take a name.
On two things, also, Mr. A-Town Down, Austin, has been putting out some really great content on his Instagram, inspirational. You can tell he's probably at a crossroads and thinking about what's going on with him, but he's incredibly positive on his I know on his Instagram. I'm not sure if he's also posting on TikTok. So I want to give him a shout out on that. And when we were talking about the even the guys at the C's in front with the being at the mercy of the almighty dollar, can we shed a few crocodile tears for David Zaslav, CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, and the board of the shareholders voted down on his compensation package for the year?
Yeah, there's my tear. It left. It's actually on a boat labeled the SS Snyder. There it went.
It was a $52 million pay package he was supposed to be getting, and the board and the shareholders went, no.
Save that money. Spend it on Superman marketing.
How about this? How about instead of like producing an entire Looney Tunes movie and talk about all the way through production to right before you're going to release it, say, you know what? We're gonna get rid of it for the tax write-off.
Is this the Acme movie?
Yeah. The Acme
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah, I mean, I said we could fall down that train forever, and I said give us a week or two more because there's more Superman trailers coming. So I'll hold off on my excitement there. I would ask, since we've got ourselves pocket of minutes here, I would love to transition to the and entertainment side.
All right, hit me.
Well, for those fans, I don't know how many are out there, but I am among them. King of the Hill is coming back, and
Yes, Mike Judge is
Greg
the
Daniels.
king of the revival too. I mean, he brought back Beavis and Butthead
Yep.
to critical acclaim. I
Yep.
know my friend John Clark of the Caffeinated Comics podcast. You can't stop raving about it. Again, yes, and then Mike Judge, Greg Daniels bringing back King of the Hill. I'm curious to see what take they have on this because I think some of the cast members have passed away though.
A lot of the cast members,
Yeah.
and in fact, quick pause specifically there. Jonathan Joss, who played John Redcorn.
Yeah.
He was also the chief of the Wamapoke in Parks and Rec, if you are familiar with that show as well. I don't want to get too political over this, but if you read what's going on in social media, it's being reported as he passed away, but his own husband is saying no, murdered.
No. Yes, I read that. Yes, I did.
They are an out couple. Their home was burned down by their neighbors, who are very much not fans of their lifestyle. They were Jonathan and his husband were coming back to the home to mourn the loss of their dogs when the neighbors showed up and gunned him down. It is a tragic loss, especially in the face of this King of the Hill reboot, which is coming in August. We have no idea how much John Redcorn was in or not in it. I mean, trust me, I'm one of those fans that has watched the YouTube where they have paused every second of the 30-second intro and have cut the thing to ribbons to talk about all the subtle things that they've shown in there, John Redcorn being among them. So with Jonathan Joss passed away, also the voice of Dale Gribble passed away, but they had recorded 6 or 7 episodes in the can. They have announced that Toby Huss, who formerly played the late Cotton Hill and the neighbor Khan, will take over that role.
Okay.
And they said there will be an in-story change as to why the voice changes that the fans will appreciate. Okay. Most of us are just guessing that all the smoking catches up to him because he avidly smokes throughout the entire show. Interestingly enough, Toby Huss no longer playing Khan Supanusinphone, or whatever his last name is. Khan, they actually got an Asian actor to play the Asian character, and no love lost there. They said completely fine, like we totally get it, no problem.
Right.
The interesting thing about this revival is the storyline that they are saying is, and this was announced with the leak, or not the leak, the release of the trailer. So this is not any spoiler or anything. This is, you can just Google this. In the floating timeline of King of the Hill, by the way, if you watched it, the show was on for 9 years, but only took place over the course of 4. Interestingly enough.
Yeah.
Hank Hill in storyline moves his whole family to Saudi Arabia for a job to squirrel away money for his retirement. There are air bases in Saudi Arabia that are like Mayberry. You are on an American base in the middle of the desert, and they treat it like a white picket town, conservative as all get out. And they say he is now returned to Arlen, where culturally things have advanced way past where he was at on the base. So that is the overarching season, is what Hank has to feel about the changes to Arlen, which include things like delivery services and virtual reality and so on and so forth. Also, Bobby Hill, now in his 20s, lives in Dallas. He co-owns a restaurant, which is Japanese-German fusion food. And he
Our
Connie,
enemies in World War II have come together.
apparently, and it's a steakhouse too. Or I'm sorry, it's a barbecue. It's a barbecue. Yeah. So Bobby Hill, Connie, and Shane Wasana-san, who, if you're a fan of the show, he is a character that recurred. He is the other Laotian kid in town who was super rich.
Okay.
So the implication is he must own the restaurant, and he gave Bobby half. But Bobby will be tooling around and hanging out. Also, to go back over, obviously Tom Petty and Brittany Murphy, who voiced Lucky, and Luann Platter, both passed away. They have basically said, look, we're not killing off those characters. We're simply saying they moved away. Okay. And that is that. They had a child, Gracie, and that's it. So really excited to see kind of like where they're going to go with this. It's an interesting take. And I liked that Judge came out, because in the time from when the show ended to now, King of the Hill got weirdly rebranded as some conservative show. And he pointed out, he goes, it's not, though. He goes, it's a show about a conservative guy, yes, but it's a character-driven show about this guy's uptightness that has nothing to do with his personal politics.
If All in the Family came out today, the right would be applauding Archie Bunker, not realizing that entire show was making fun of that character.
Oh, 100%. So. And yeah, I'm happy so far. We haven't gotten any of that. Or if those shows exist, they're all on CMTV, which sadly I don't get.
One of the funniest columns I ever read was how the show Yellowstone is the opposite of woke. And I was there going, you tell me you have not watched Yellowstone without telling me you haven't watched Yellowstone. Because that show was a very definition of woke.
You know, it's like so many a thing. I mean, look, you put on West Wing and the conservative right goes absolutely banana sandwiches.
Yeah, but it's a liberal fantasy, right?
Right, and is House of Cards a conservative one?
Oh no, it's they love that. It's a conservative. It's watch House of Cards now. The conservatives are like, yeah, we dig that. We can go for that. Yeah.
I admittedly stopped watching it for some reason. I can't remember why.
I can't start watching it again for reasons that I'm not going to get into.
Yeah, pretty much. I do remember I did watch it. I did enjoy the first couple of seasons, but too much betrayal. And I liked watching Billions. Which is a show entirely about that.
Oh, God. I'm going to start binging The Good Place again. I need something up.
It's on my short list, that is for sure. I am still getting my way through Daredevil. That's my current watch.
Well, all right. Well, hey. That's been another episode of the Torn Quadcast. That's typically how this show goes. We like to talk about everything, because there are a lot of podcasts out there that just talk about wrestling. We talk about the whole spectrum of entertainment. So, for Marc Allen Fishman, I'm Elliott Serrano. This has been the Torn Quadcast. Please subscribe, like, share, comment if you can. Let us know what you thought. And we'll be back next week with another edition. Be good to each other, folks. And remember, don't go off the top turnbuckle unless your partner's ready to catch you. See ya.